What's up everyone, it's Iceman Oz, aka Jay, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing Battlefield to Battlefront. That's right, the two, I'd like to call them rivals, but they really aren't. I mean, they're made by the same developer, so I think it's one of those things where a lot of the fans of both franchises like to compare them to each other to really see which one's better. And to people who don't own either variation of the game, they want to see which one is best for them. So Battlefield coming out in 2013, upon release it had a very poor release, didn't do very well, only up until recently I believe that the game actually got good regarding its gunplay. Then we move on to Star Wars Battlefront, releasing in 2015, obviously a fan favorite, obviously because it has the Star Wars name. But more than that, it really is an arcade shooter and really tilts towards the more casual audience. Then there's the other Battlefield game, Battlefield Hardline, which I don't think is worth mentioning in this comparison, mainly because Battlefield 4 seems to be more along the reference point. So I made a little bit of a list here regarding the graphics, sound design, netcode, weapons, and map design. I'll go through them in this video. So the first thing is the graphics. Now graphically, they're pretty much the same. They run off the same engine, which is Frostbite, and really you won't notice too much of a difference, although in Battlefront it's obviously an upgraded variant of that engine, so you will see little particle differences and things like this. When it comes down to sound design, they're obviously both very good. You can hear your opponents coming up, you know, it's never really an issue. In my opinion, sound design is better than a bunch of other FPSs out there. I mean, compare it to Call of Duty, which is kind of all over the shop. Half the time you can't hear the opponents, the other times you can. DICE definitely does a great job with their sound design. That's been the case since, hell, Bad Company 2, probably even further back than that. When it comes down to netcode, I'm going to give this one to Battlefront. Although the last two have been undecided, I will give the netcode to Battlefront, mainly due to the fact that Battlefield 4 has been such a pain all the way up, but despite its recent upgrade in netcode, I still believe that Battlefront right now, yeah, obviously it can change, but right now I think it's the better in terms of netcode. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me in the future, that statement, although I have a funny feeling it might. Next is the weapons. So when it comes down to this, obviously Battlefront has a lot less weapons. Battlefield 4 has a ton of weapons, and really, with Battlefield 4, the thing is, a lot of the weapons do the same thing. In Battlefront, for the most part, they really are different from each other, and that is something I really appreciate. I've always said that what's the point of having 100 guns where 30% of them do the exact same thing? With Battlefront, they pretty much cut out all the BS, and you get really just the main things that you want, and that's really cool. Next up is gunplay. Now, here's the thing, I was not a huge fan of Battlefront's gunplay, mainly due to the fact that there isn't recoil and it's pretty much straightforward, but I understand why they do it, because they want it to be for the casual audience, like I said earlier, and that's fine. But to me, I think Battlefield's gunplay is a lot better in general. If we go back all the way back to Battlefield 3, I mean, it was amazing there. I mean, nothing will ever beat that in my opinion. But yeah, I'll definitely give it to Battlefield on the gunplay. When it comes to game modes, I'm not really one to compare these two because obviously because of the such different mechanics, you can't really compare the game modes in a sense. But one that I did find is Rush and Walker Assault. Now moving on, despite these two games being very similar to each other, they do have some differences. For example, Battlefield doesn't have star cards or the third-person view, while Battlefront doesn't have Levolution. Not to mention that Battlefield has an arguably better vehicle gameplay. So when it comes down to it, if you're going to choose whether you're going to play one or the other, I definitely think that Battlefront is a must-buy just due to the fact that we need something till the next Battlefield at the very least. I don't think Battlefield 4 is going to hold up another year. That's just my inkling. Maybe I'm totally wrong, because this patch has made Battlefield 4 a lot better. Hardline's not going to hold up another 3 months in my opinion. So yeah, I think Battlefront's the way to go in terms of a game to hold you off. But I don't think Battlefield 4 is going to die out completely. So maybe you should just get that one or stick with it depending if you've got it or considering buying it. The last thing to know is that Battlefield 4 is a lot cheaper than Battlefront. Obviously because it's a much older game. At the end of the day, I would choose Battlefield 4 only for this reason, because it is so cheap. If you haven't bought it yet, it's definitely the way to go. If you've already got Battlefield 4, I do think that if you can afford it, definitely do get Battlefront. But with that being said, guys, let me know in the comment section below, which game is better, Star Wars Battlefront or Battlefield 4? Start the flame war in the comment section below. But with that being said, guys, hopefully enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, share, subscribe, and peace.